So we're here with SyndereN, and on the final day of the Gamescom. You had to exit the tournament yesterday. What went wrong?
Yeah, we got the third place after losing the loser bracket final, and well, a short recap of the tournament for us is, of course, it's a disappointment. We went here as the favorites. I have to say, we lost to the same team 3 times in a row. They knocked us into the losers bracket. I'm talking of Copenhagen Wolves, of course. They knocked us in the losers bracket, and then in the losers bracket final, best of 3, we lost twice. The first game that knocked us in the loser bracket, we simply just played bad. We looked through the replay and we checked all our mistakes, and it's countless bad plays. It's such a shame, but sometimes you have a bad game, and unfortunately when it's a best of 1, you get knocked down. So we didn't have a chance to make a comeback. If you have one bad performance, you're knocked down. And then in the loser bracket finals, they seemed really pumped up. We made some mistakes in the first game. We had some good plays, but it wasn't enough because they were playing really well. And then in the final game of the losers bracket final, we felt like we got our play together, but still they just played out of their minds, especially miGGeL on the Rubik and Nino on the Enigma played super good games. And
so you say Copenhagen Wolves with miGGeL as a stand-in is even better than normal Copenhagen Wolves?
In all fairness, I'm not sure who else, who would they be playing with instead of miGGeL as a stand-in. I don't remember.
They kicked out Henry Dickinson before.
It was Henry, yeah. I don't know. To me, miGGeL personally is just an amazing player. He has a lot of experience he can bring to the team. He has some good ideas. He plays very solidly on any hero, so it's a great asset for any team to have him. Whether it's better or worse than without Henry, it's hard to determine from just a few games. I just want to say their performance in this tournament, apart from the winners bracket final they had against WHA, where it just didn't work out for them. I think they have a really good shot at the grand final against them. Even though they lost the winners bracket 2-0 to them, I think if they get their stuff together and play like they did in the last game against us, I think they're the favorites, actually, in my mind.
You have been practicing in a boot camp for the international. Now you lost, which you don't want to do at the international. Did you just not have enough time until now?
It's not about time, man. It's I don't know what to say. I mean, it's always different in a LAN environment. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Of course, it should have worked out. There's no excuse. We didn't play well enough, and then you lose. But at the same time, I want to give credit to the people who play well as well. So I mean, Copenhagen Wolves did an amazing job this time. I wish them all the best, and I think it's also cool for them and for we as Asians to really get to play in a LAN final. So I wish them all the best for that. I think it's good for them.
Some people say after the remake, you as a team were playing too predictable, so other teams found a way to beat you. Have you worked on this one right now?
We have some different options, and we've been playing a little bit differently as well in this tournament with different drafts and different ways of playing the game. I mean, I wouldn't say we're super predictable in that sense. Of course, every team in a way is predictable. You know, if you're going up against other top teams, you know they have this way of playing, and you don't just change that overnight. Maybe you can change your draft a little bit, but the way you play the game is pretty much the same. That sense is predictable. So what you need to do to not be predictable is to mix it up a bit with the draft, mix it up a bit with the lanes perhaps, or whatever you feel like going for. And at the end of the day, what wins is consistency. We're going to the international now. In the group stages, there will be lots of games. So if you have a pocket strategy for the group stage, you might win one game, but you're playing a lot of games. So winning one game doesn't make the difference. It's winning many games in a row. And you can't have a pocket strategy for each game. So you have to be consistent and just play your style.
On the first days of this tournament, you arrived directly from the boot camp, from the location, so you had a quite long travel to this place. Was this affecting you?
No, I don't think so. I think it was a 1.5 or a 2 hour drive both ways, but that's no excuse, and it shouldn't affect anything. I mean, we come here to play, we're well prepared, we get in and we play our stuff, and unfortunately we just had a really bad game against Wolves, and then after that I think we showed our strength in the losers bracket. We smashed SGZ as well as Infused in very short games with our style, and then we went up against Wolves and it just didn't go so well in those games, but they've been playing really solidly in this tournament. But at the same time, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, in terms of an international perspective, we took down some of our contestants like SGC and Infused with style. It wasn't just a victory, it was really solid wins. So those games I'm really satisfied about. Of course, it's a shame we only get third, but at the same time, you need to look at the good games too.
It's just 1 week until the international. How are your last days going to look like?
We'll practice a lot, of course. I mean, everyone will. Now we're getting so close that every team will be practicing so intensely that you can find practice opponents all the time who are really dedicated and give 100%. So, I mean, we'll be looking to practice as much as possible and get as confident as possible until the event. And yeah, well, when you get to the event, it's the same as always. The best team wins. And what's nice about this tournament, in contrast to the last international, if you remember the last international, there were 4 groups with 4 teams in each. So you only had like 3 games in the group, and then after that, there's loser and winner bracket. This time around, there's going to be bigger groups. There's going to be more games. And it's going to be way more about consistency than having these few good games. Now you need to have many solid games along the way.
So this was something you mentioned to Valve, that you want to have such a big group phase in the beginning, or?
No, I at least I haven't. I'm not sure if the other teams have, but I think it's the best decision, of course. I mean, I think Valve also realized that the teams are practicing so hard for this tournament, and no matter how it goes, someone will be knocked out early. So with the old tournament format, one team will only have 4 games. That's no matter what would happen, one team would only have 4 games. But now
you have at least 15.
Yeah, now we have a lot of games, and it's cool because when you use so much of your time for this, you really prepare for it. You also want to you want it to be worth something, and like I said, no matter what, somebody's going to lose. That's how it is with these tournaments. There's prize money for the top 8, so there's 8 teams going home with nothing, but at least they'll get to really show their strength and show what they prepared for, and hopefully give some good games for the fans, and at least make it worthwhile for themselves even if they don't win. And every team is going there knowing they have to get top 8 to even get just a piece of the prize money. So, I mean, you have to look at it that way. Everyone thinks they have a good shot at it, but not everyone will win. But at least they'll have a good attempt at it, and not one bad game will not knock them out.
Here you have around 200 visitors watching your games. At DreamHack it was maybe like 900. At the International will be 3,000 in one hall. What does this feeling give you?
Personally, from my experience, I've played twice on the DreamHack stage in a grand final there, and it pumps me up personally. I mean, playing in front of a live audience who's with you along the way and cheering for whatever team they cheer for when there's good moves. Some people cheer for one team. A lot of the people watching cheer for the good game, so they cheer for both teams. I mean, it just really makes you focus because you know there's a lot of people watching you. You know you have to do your best. I mean, of course you have to do that without an audience as well, but at the same time it brings an extra dimension that there's the whole audience behind. So for me, it's not going to be more difficult that there's 3,000 watching, because I'm kind of used to it now after having it twice. I can't say it for other players. Maybe some people have stage fright, and that could affect their performance if they're scared of disappointing or whatever. But I mean, when you're at this level, you just have to be able to like not really lock out the crowd, because you also want the crowd to back you up, but you don't want them to distract you. So you want them to be an extra boost for you instead of a distraction.
Thank you very much, and see you at the International.